If you saw this boy on the street, would you look away?
He painted his goat like a zebra just because he had nothing else to do. But the next day, something unexpected happened. The goat produced significantly more milk than usual. After researching why, he found out that the stripes protect them from mosquito bites. From that day on, he painted every animal on the farm with stripes for protection, including himself. If you always lose at the cover the spot game, this simple trick might help you win every time. Most people think it's easy to win, but the game is nearly impossible unless you use the right pattern. Start by placing the first disc with its edge touching the center of the spot. Then, place the second disc covering these 2 points, and continue the pattern until the spot is completely covered. But sometimes the operator uses discs slightly smaller, making the game impossible to win. If a street food vendor shows you fresh ingredients before cooking, it might just be an illusion to trick you. They'll pick a vibrant, juicy skewer from the display to impress you. The moment you agree, they head straight to the grill. But in that split second, instead of grilling the fresh skewer you saw, they hand you a pre-cooked, dried-out one that's been sitting there for hours. The only way to avoid this scam is to watch your food go from raw to cooked without ever leaving your sight. If your house is next to an airport, you could actually get rich doing this. The non-stop airplane noise might drive you insane, but instead of selling your house and moving away, paint your roof to look like a completely different city and list the house for a ridiculous price. When passengers see it from the plane, they'll panic and think the pilot is taking them to the wrong place. Eventually, the airport authority will be forced to buy your house just to make the problem disappear. Why do you always lose at the ring toss? The ring feels too small, but it's actually just the right size to fit the bottle. Most people throw too hard or too high, but the rings are made of hard plastic, so they bounce when they hit the glass. The trick is to throw it like a frisbee, slow, flat spin, and aim low. If someone waves at you in public and you wave back, then realize they were actually waving at the person behind you, what do? Some people pretend to hail a taxi, but now a cab is actually pulling over, and you have to go somewhere you never planned. Others pretend to brush their hair, but that only works if you actually have hair. So instead, walk straight toward them and go for the high five. You might just walk away with a new friend. If you have $1, you can buy 1,000 nails, melt them down, and you'll get about 1.2 kilograms of steel. But if you sell that steel as it is, it's only worth about $1.20. Instead, forge that steel into aerospace bolts, and the price jumps to $1,000 per kilogram. Keep repeating the cycle, and one day, you'll be able to buy a SpaceX rocket. He painted his goat like...
Make your own skin.
A mosquito landed on my ear and buzzed. "You're almost there. You got this." I was so delirious from the heat on my solo hike that I had to remind myself it wasn't real. I tipped my empty bottle over my mouth and one singular drop landed on my tongue. The mosquito came back and waved, and this time I heard it say, "Turn left, you'll find water." I face-palmed myself because I couldn't believe I was about to listen to a mosquito, and I turned left. 50 feet down, in the shade of a boulder, sat a full water bottle. I touched it, and it was ice cold. Beads of sweat ran down the plastic, like somebody had just taken it out of the fridge. The mosquito kept cheering. "I know you're lost, but you can trust me." I uncapped the water and guzzled it into my throat, and I figured that the hydration from the water would snap me back to reality and the mosquito would disappear. But after finishing the entire bottle, it was still there. It buzzed. "Now let's find the exit." I laughed and said out loud, "What the hell is going on?" But it was already flying ahead of me, staring like it was waiting. I followed the buzzing through the brush, turn after turn, while the mosquito counted the turns off like it had walked it 100 times. Eventually, it led me to the parking lot, where there was one car sitting in the center. The car door opened, and a man climbed out, stretched like he'd been waiting on me, and smiled. "Oh good," he smiled and pointed at the mosquito. "You found my friend." The mosquito lifted off my ear and crossed the lot toward him. I stood there holding the empty bottle, my brain refusing to catch up. "Don't tell anybody about this," he said, pulling his door open. "Nobody's gonna believe you anyway." He backed the car out, and I pinched myself to see if I was dreaming. But the mosquito was still sitting on his dashboard, and the man rolled the window down. The mosquito buzzed. "Don't forget to order an Uber home." A mosquito landed on my ear.
These amputated body parts had unbelievable stories, and the last one was kept. First, the leg lamp, 2014, Netherlands. Leo Bonten slipped into a kiddie pool and shattered his leg. After a severe infection, doctors amputated it. Instead of letting it be destroyed, he preserved the leg in a glass jar and turned it into a lamp for his living room. Later, hoping to pay for a prosthetic, he tried selling it online for $80,000. The listing was removed because body parts can't legally be sold. Next, the leg and the grill, 2007, United States. After opening an old smoker, Shannon Wisnett discovered a preserved human leg inside. It belonged to John Wood, who had kept it after losing it in a plane crash years earlier. When the story went viral, the new owner tried to keep the leg, but a court ruled it had to be returned to the man who lost it. Before the finale, do you believe in angels? Like and subscribe for protection over your loved ones. Share this and comment, I believe. Finally, the frozen foot, 2022, United States. Mary Kay Brown cut through Doug McFarlane's frostbitten foot using only scissors while he remained awake. After the amputation, she secretly stored the foot in a freezer, planning to preserve it in resin and display it as a warning. When the patient later died, she tried to take the foot, but other nurses stopped her and it was buried with his body. How many times did I say leg? He's amputated.
What do you think?
20 bucks seems like a lot of money for a chipmunk.
He's a talking chipmunk. Go on, plump and juicy, say something.
I also think. Give us back our brother. Yeah.
Just paid 20 bucks for him.
He's not for sale.
I want 40.
What?
He's a talking chipmunk.
I also sing. Yo, you're not helping. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Bro, wanna pull up tough cause you noticed that butt was stuck. Fine. I hope you're happy, Theodore. That was all of our allowance. Sorry.
Whoa. What's that?
Whoa, that is stuffed Alvin doll.
I'm gonna need to see what's in that backpack, please.
Oh no.
Just a doll.
Jackie was just a doll.
This is Alvin. That's what the A is for. He does a lot of bending, back up. He does splits, some twists, like Linda Blair almost. You can use it as a weight loss device. I can feel the sweat. It even talks. It says, I'm a dumb stupid head. Batteries might be a bit low.
Ow! I'm a dumb stupid head.
Up!
You can put the doll back in the bag. What I am gonna need is for you to take a step right over there because we're gonna need to do a quick body search.
Body search? Oh no. Oh.
Relax. One last spot to get.
I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail.
You just holding it for a friend?
Got that.
What do you think?
20 bucks.
These are players who were expelled for bizarre things. In 2010, the referee blew for the start of the match, but the sound was so loud that the player started to curse the referee, who expelled him with 2 seconds of the game. In 2017, a goalkeeper was sent off for peeing. He simply couldn't hold the urge, and decided to relieve himself right there near the goalpost. In 2014, a player took the referee's foam spray and started to play with the object in the middle of the match. The referee didn't find it funny and expelled him. He put a Lego piece in his nose and it got stuck. Then, he put another piece in the same nostril because they connected, and he thought it would be a smart way to get the first one out. But instead, both ended up getting stuck. His mother managed to take out the larger piece, not knowing that the smaller one remained deeply hidden. For 26 years, he suffered from congestion, asthma, and sleep apnea without knowing the reason. Until one day, while washing his nose in the shower, the Lego piece simply came out after 26 years. 3 girls had their lemonade stand shut down by the police, but they didn't expect what was going to happen. In 2018, a professional seller was selling lemonade for $7 a cup when a group of girls approached and opened a stand right next to it. He became furious with the new competition and called the police. The seller pressured so much that they closed the stand since the girls didn't have a license. As they were crying, a passing chef saw what was happening. He took the girls to his restaurant and created a permanent place for them to sell lemonade. If you are sleepy and your boss suspects you are sleeping at work, put on some glasses and say you have light sensitivity. They will believe it and will not fire you. If you run into a friend who is with a much older person, never ask if she is his mother or grandmother. She could be his rich wife and he just wants to stop working. If you move to a new house and notice that your child has made an imaginary friend, get out of there as fast as possible. There might
might be a ghost living in that house. If you get stunned by a jellyfish, don't try to pee on the spot. It will only make the pain worse. Wash it with seawater and go to the hospital. If you are showing your house to your new girlfriend, never try to hide your true taste. She might think you're weird, but you might also find the love of your life. If you see a woman with a very large belly, never ask if she is pregnant. She might just be overweight and will get very angry. If you are in a dangerous bathroom and need to poop, always keep one foot out of your pants. If someone comes to attack you, you'll be able to stand up and defend yourself. If you are in a museum and a piece of art falls near you, don't try to put it back in place even if it looks intact. It might break as soon as you touch it and you'll have to pay for it. If you are in another country and are going to eat a meat at a street market, always ask what kind of meat it is. They might have different customs and you might not like it. If you are going through a metal detector and forget you have metal in your pocket, take it out very slowly. That way you won't scare the security guards. If you are shaving and feel like sneezing, do not sneeze under any circumstances. You might move too much and cause an accident. If you are going to a job interview, ask a friend to go with you and give a terrible interview. When they are done and you walk in, they will think you are great. If you are on a date and forget the person's name, go to Starbucks and buy them a coffee. When the drink is ready, they will call out the name and you will remember. If you are taking an exam and accidentally make eye contact with a teacher, don't try to look away. They will think you are cheating. Instead, keep staring at them until they think you are just. These are players who were expelled.
In the 90s, a kid mixed soda powder with water and left it outside overnight, but he forgot the stirring stick inside. The temperature dropped and the whole thing froze around the stick. The next morning, he pulled it out and tasted it, and it was incredible. So he ran to show his father. His father saw the opportunity and started selling them around the neighborhood. People got obsessed with them, so they opened a store and became millionaires. If you're charging your phone and the case starts to melt, unplug it and move it quickly. It may be overheating. If you're at a party and you left your drink unattended, don't drink it when you return. Someone could have put something in it. If an elevator stops between floors and the doors won't open, press the alarm and wait for help. Forcing the doors can make you fall. If you drop a knife in the kitchen, step back immediately and don't try to catch it. You could get cut badly. A couple in Texas left their 2 small kids at home to go buy pizza, but this time, something terrible happened. The 3-year-old started playing with his 19-month-old brother like always. Then, out of nowhere, he put him inside the oven and turned it on. When the parents came back, the mom noticed the oven was on and shut it off. It caught her attention so much that she opened the door to see what was inside, and what she saw was a complete nightmare.
Let's try to make my internet as fast as possible. So let's test it real quick. Honestly, it's not too bad, but we can do better. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug my router, take it out of the living room, and put it right next to my computer. That surprisingly helped a lot, but we can still do better. Let's head out and try to find an Ethernet cable. I swear everyone tells me this will speed up my internet. So let's unbox it and plug in one end here and another end here. Let's switch to the Ethernet and run the final test. Follow for more.
If you're walking home and feel like a car is following you, don't go in the building. Turn and walk into any open store or cafe and wait inside for a minute. If you go to a friend's house and their dog won't stop following you, don't run from it. Hold out your hand so the dog can smell you, and it will usually leave you alone. If someone on the street asks to use your phone to make a call, don't give it to them. They could call another country and you could get a huge bill. In 2023, a guy tested something scary. How long can a paper cup actually hold liquid? He filled 3 paper cups, one with Coke, one with Fanta, and one with water. At first, everything looked normal, but on day 4, the Fanta turned black from mold. And the next day, the Coke started molding too, and it began to evaporate. By day 38, the Fanta cup started leaking and falling apart. Then 3 months later, the Coke cup was bubbling and full of flies. And after 8 months, the cups were beyond disgusting. If you run out of toilet paper in a public bathroom, use the wipes next to the toilet. This lets you get clean enough to step out and find paper to finish cleaning. If a bee flies into your car while you're driving, keep your hands on the wheel and stay calm. The bee will feel uncomfortable inside and will fly out on its own. If the toilet keeps flushing while you're seated, place a small piece of paper over the sensor. It won't detect movement and won't flush again until you remove the paper. If a strong gust flips your umbrella inside out, close it halfway and face the wind. Push the ribs back into place and it will be like new. If you drop your wallet in a busy place, step on it gently. Wait until some people leave, then crouch and pick it up. If someone knocks on your door late at night and you aren't expecting anyone, don't open it. Talk through the door, and if they try to force it, call the police. If you get into an Uber and the driver doesn't say your name, ask who are you picking up. If they can't answer, get out. It could be a kidnap. In the 90s, a kid mixed.
This man fell asleep for 500 years. When he finally woke up, he found that the world had completely changed. Buildings were held up only by ropes, and no one cared about broken bridges. He went down to the street and tried to ask people what had happened. But instead of understanding him, some people attacked him. He was extremely thirsty and went to get a drink, but what came out of the tap was green soda, not water. He picked up a newspaper and was shocked to read that the year was now 2505. He thought it would be best to go to a hospital, but on the way, the police stopped him. Because he didn't have an identity barcode on his arm, they arrested him. He was put into a cage and taken to court. The judge who tried him was just as foolish. Without listening to him at all, the judge immediately declared him guilty, while the people in the courtroom clapped as if they were at a party. No one wanted to hear him. A prison guard put a collar around his neck and took him to a building. Before entering prison, everyone had to take an IQ test. Only one question was asked. If one bucket contains 2 gallons of water and the other contains 5 gallons of water, how many buckets are there in total? The answer is 2. The question was extremely easy and clearly showed that humans had become much dumber after 500 years. He was the only one who answered correctly. On his first day in prison, he made a strong plan to escape. He told a guard that it was his release day. The guard actually believed him, but as soon as he stepped outside, he was immediately caught again. This time, he was taken to meet the president. The president was shocked by his intelligence and appointed him Secretary of the Interior. His task now was to find out why the fields were no longer being farmed. He went to the fields. The sprinklers turned on, but instead of water, soda came out. He learned that people believed soda was clean, while water was only good for flushing toilets. That was why the crops wouldn't grow. He held soda in one hand and water in the other, then lied by saying he could talk to plants. He told everyone what the plants were saying, which was that they needed water. His trick worked, and the president believed him. The president ordered the entire system to be changed from soda to water, but even after a month, the land was still barren. One morning, thousands of people gathered in front of his house because he was the one who had suggested using water for farming. Soda sales collapsed, millions lost their jobs, and everyone started blaming him. As punishment, the president sent him to an arena to fight 2 large armed vehicles. But then, a video showing crops growing successfully in the fields appeared on the screen. The whole stadium was stunned. The president forgave him and made him the new president. This man fell asleep.
Do you want to protect your game apps? You can set up a fingerprint to protect your app.
The gecko suddenly realizes he's going to die, because he can't shed his skin properly. The old skin has already loosened, but he can't get out properly. The gecko is physically and mentally exhausted from being wrapped up for so long, and he's in so much pain that he's rubbing himself on the ground. He tries to find a way to get out of his coat. Looking at such a painful little gecko, the heart of the master decided to help him. He gently put his hand on the gecko's outer skin. Without hurting him, he tried his best to help him remove the outer skin little by little. With the man's help, the gecko's coat was successfully removed. Seeing that there is hope for the molt, the clever little gecko decided to do it himself. He pressed his little paw on his face and kept twisting his body. He tries to use inertia to pull off the skin, but the old skin was too stubborn. Even though the gecko is trying so hard, the coat just won't leave the gecko's body. The long tugging and pulling makes his arms cramp up a bit. Gradually, the little guy starts to get more and more irritable. He bobbed his head frantically, wanting the coat to leave. Perhaps he's frightened by the little guy's sudden rage. Soon the gecko succeeds in pulling the coat off his face, and then it's time for the arms. Because his legs are too short, he has to grab the skin behind him with his mouth. He then pulls it forwards, and it works. Soon he was able to remove the skin from his arm, to reveal his slender arms. With a final push, the little glove is replaced. With the right side out of the way, the little man starts to work on the left side. The same way. With the power of his mouth, the little glove on his left hand is also successfully removed. The little gecko was busy eating his old skin while he was working hard. As we all know, the gecko's skin is very nutritious. Eating their old skin can also help the geckos to be full of energy during the process of removing their skin. Before long, the gecko has managed to remove all the old skin from its left leg. Now the gecko only has the right leg and tail left to shed. Seeing this, the gecko decided to go for it. Because of the previous experience, this process is not very difficult. The little gecko also easily completed. Now the gecko molt has reached the final moment. This is also the most critical moment. Because the arms are not long enough, the gecko can only use the softness of the body to swing the head to the tail. This process consumes the gecko's physical strength. Looking at the little guy's expression of difficulty, the man also looks very anxious. But he cannot choose to help, because if the gecko wants to survive, molting is the adjustment he needs to go through. If you were in this situation, would you choose to help? Fortunately, the gecko's perseverance is also amazing. Even though the molting process was difficult, he didn't choose to give up. In the end, the gecko succeeds in getting out of his coat. The gecko suddenly...
Sure what to say about that.
Trying to get melted Skittles out of my hair.
How did they get in your hair? I know I can't talk, I'm having one of the worst hair days of my life, but how does this happen?
So yesterday I melted Skittles and put them in my hair. You what?
Okay, so that's how. Great, thanks for clarifying.
And now it is a candy shell that is hard as a rock and completely stuck in my hair.
Missed opportunity from me the other day to melt my spring rolls and teriyaki noodles into my hair.
So today I'm going to try every single thing I can think of to try and get it out.
I guarantee you forget to explode.
First thing I tried was using not one but 2 lighters to try and melt it off.
Well, that looks safe. Could you imagine going to A&E wearing Skittle hair?
Right before I did, I realized I didn't want to catch my hair on fire, so I decided not to try this.
It took you until you lifted the flame up to realize that was a bad idea.
The next thing I tried was using a hammer to chip off pieces of it again, but this time not eating them.
What do you mean this time? How often do you chip away at your hair with a hammer? This sounds like a normal Saturday afternoon or something.
Work for the outer parts, but not the ones in the center where most of my hair and scalp were still connected to it.
That's a common problem with using a hammer to get dried Skittles out of your hair.
And I realized for that part, I'm going to have to get it really hot, so I tried using a hairdryer.
Donuts. They look like donuts. Oh my god, she's actually making a donut. She's actually making a donut. It's another toilet donut. I knew it. How much more donut shape do you need it to be?
Then a curling iron. It started to melt, which gave me hope, and it just ended up making it more stuck. At this point,
Have you tried using a toilet donut?
when I was ready to give up and just accept my sticky, colorful Skittle hair.
No, you see, I don't believe you because you're Stash. And there's one thing I know about Stash. Your hair's invincible. That's literally the face I pull every time your hair makes an epic comeback.
And just wear a wig for the rest of my life, I guess. Until I got one last idea, which was to get my shampoo.
You haven't tried shampoo yet? It's the most basic thing. What's wrong with shampoo? How did old me get here?
Put it in a bowl, then put that bowl of shampoo in the microwave, heat it up, then quickly run over to the shower, put it on max heat.
It would have been quicker if you just put your head in the microwave.
And pour the hot shampoo on my head. Which burned really bad, but also softened up the candy shell.
It's that famous saying, as long as we can soften up the candy shell, we can go through anything.
And by ripping out piece by piece, which is probably the most painful thing I've ever done, I got it all out of my hair.
This isn't fair. My hair just falls out naturally by itself. This guy puts crayons and Skittles in his hair, and it looks like he's just left the barber.
After all that, my hair is sticky, gross, and it didn't even stain my hair any color at all. I have no idea how I'm not bald yet.
Bro's hair needs a case study.
Trying to get melted Skittles